Let's talk about why my demo production process is just a little different than most. That's what we're going to discuss today. Welcome to the VoiceOver Blueprint Daily Huddle. What we do here today is just, or every morning, is just talk about your voiceover business and try to get you further down the road and VO success. My name is Mike Hathcote. I'm a full-time voice actor and voiceover coach. And welcome. First of all, before we get into it, just don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. I appreciate that. We're creeping on up, looking towards 100,000 subscribers. So we're trying to get there. So I appreciate that. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get this stuff as quickly as possible. All right, let's get into it. You've heard me talk over and over again on this channel about the importance of a good demo. You know, And there are two main types of demo out there, two primary types that people go with. There's the DIY demo, which obviously stands for do it yourself, where you just do everything yourself and put it out there. And then there's the pro demo. We call it a pro demo, which means basically just a fully produced, using a producer, fully produced demo. So those primarily are the two main types of demos that people can get. So if you're going to go after top tier work, you need a top tier demo, which means a fully produced pro demo. And here's how that process kind of works for those of you who've never done it. You reach out to a demo producer. You'll probably meet to discuss scripts and options that you'd like to do in the scripts. And they will send you those scripts. And then you're supposed to practice those scripts. And then you meet with that person for the recording session. They direct you through the recording of each of the spots to make sure you get the right, the best possible performance. You send the file to them, and then they take it from there, and they add all the music and the effects and make it sound pretty and make it sound like the real deal. And then they send it back to you, and there's your demo. Go out and get it. So that's the pro demo process. The biggest advantage to doing it that way is having that one-on-one directed session, meaning that you've got someone to bounce those ideas and those reads off of so that they can tell you yes or no, and let's make it the best we can. That's the biggest downside to not doing it, or to doing it yourself, is that you don't have that person who can direct you, because what a lot of times what we think in our own head is sounds good might not sound as good as we think. So it's nice to have that person there who is familiar with what works and what doesn't, to be able to give you that direction, when you're recording, and also to kind of guide you for the script selection, right? Because not all scripts are created equal, and you want to make sure that you get the right selection of different scripts to showcase your talent. So that's the most important thing when it comes to getting a pro demo, is to have that professional feedback. And for that, you typically pay, anywhere between $2,500 to $3,000 per demo to do that, because there's a lot of work that goes into not only the original, the scripts selection at the beginning, but also the production side at the very end, where they're making it sound like a real thing, a real demo. So when it comes to DIY, that will get you DIY level work. So that means things like Fiverr and Upwork. You do not direct market a DIY demo, because, as I've said many times on here, at that point, you're competing against the best and people who have had pro demos produced and are, out there. So you're going to pale in comparison to them. So that's why you should not direct market a DIY demo. So whenever I need a demo, I don't do my own. Even though I know the process and how to do it, I don't do my own, because I wanna make sure that I've got, the best possible performance down on the demo. So I'll reach out to a trusted colleague, like I've had a couple done from J. Michael Collins. I've worked with Ann Ganguza, Julie Williams, Bill DeWeese. I've worked with all of them on demos because I want to have their professional opinion so that I can get the best possible demo. So even though I know how to do it, I still get help when it comes time for me to renew a demo. In fact, I mentioned this a while back. I reached out to JMC recently because he did my current pro demo, my current commercial demo that I have out there is the one that's right smack in the middle of my website when you land on it. And I wanted to get his feedback on whether or not the demo still held up. Is it time for a refresh? Should we do a new one? And luckily enough, he was like, "No, the demo is great. Maybe swap out one with a kind of a more authoritative read." So I did that. I just went back and we recorded one spot together and he cut it into the demo. And now my demo is back up on my website, the current version of it with that new spot, Home Depot, by the way. And now the demo is refreshed. So I didn't have to start from scratch. I just did, one spot, swapped it out, and now it's good to go for another who knows how long. So you don't always have to start from scratch if you're kind of in the market for a new demo. Sometimes it's just a tweak here and there. So I say all that to say this. I have come up with kind of a hybrid solution that bridges the gap between a pro demo and a DIY demo. And you may have heard it referred to as a hybrid demo because that's something that has come up. We needed to label it something. And it's kind of the best of both worlds. So you get the professional direction and help in producing the demo, but you do some of the stuff yourself as well. Because my whole philosophy is I'd rather teach you to fish than give you a fish, right? Now there's a lot of people out there who they don't want to know how the sausage is made. They just want to get a demo. Great. I mean, that's like I said, that's what I do. Even though I do know how the sausage is made, I just want somebody to hand me my demo. And that's great. If you want to do that, do it. But like I said, I'm a big fan of knowing how the sausage is made. And so what my demo process is we work together over the course of 4 sessions. And session 1 would be finding the scripts. So we find all the different scripts. What I like to do, and for those of you who've worked with me, you'll know this, but I want to make sure that the copy for those scripts, even though there is kind of a formula of the different styles we need, I want to make sure that the copy, in other words, the products or services that we use scripts for, are things that you like and are into and that you have a connection to. So for instance, if we do, let's say you drive a Honda Accord, we'll go look for some Honda commercials. If you like to eat Cheerios, let's go find some Cheerios commercials, whatever. That way you have a direct connection to the copy and are more invested in it. So that's number 1. That's session 1. We find your scripts. Session 2 is we practice the scripts. So we run down those scripts. We make sure that, you've got the performance aspect locked in. Of course, all the sessions are recorded so you can go back and play them and make sure that your practice is on point. Then session number 3 is the recording session where you're recording in your space. I'm directing you. All these sessions, by the way, are on Zoom. I'm directing you through the performance and what we've been practicing. And then session 4 is where we sit down and we look at all or listen to all of the recordings that we've done. And we pick out the best bits of each spot, number 1. And then we figure out which order they should be in the demo. And there is definitely an art and a science to that part of it. So you have to make sure that you don't have something too similar, next to each other, and that it flows well, that it grabs them, so we usually put your strongest stuff up front. So it grabs them and then holds them and then makes them think, well, what else can this person do? So there's a whole science behind that. And then at the end of that fourth session, you're done. Your demo is done. Now, you may not know how to do all the back end stuff like the editing and the processing and the mixing. Well, I show you how to do all that. So I show you the process so that you can work on doing that. And then at the end, not only do you have a professional demo because we've collaborated on it and I've shown you the right things to do, the end result is the same as a pro demo, but with benefits. And the benefits are you now know how the sausage is made, how that stuff is done on the back end. So then you can take that from there and do it for clients or whatever. Um, let's say a client needs music mixed in with a podcast intro or an IVR or something like that. You now know how to go in and mix it and put it together because you've done this demo with me. And that's what you're using to go out and do your direct marketing. Because, like I said, the end result is the same. So it is a pro demo, and then you can go out and do your marketing and the way you should do, and the shackles are off from the DIY demo, and you're not kind of relegated to those freelance platforms. You can go out and do your thing. So that's how my demo process works. A little different from a lot of people's, but like I said, I think the people that I've worked with and have done demos with will attest that it's a very good learning experience, and it you come out of the other side of it with a whole lot of knowledge. Like I said, I've taught you to fish as opposed to giving you a fish, but takes all kinds, right? If you want to do the full production deal where they just hand you the demo at the end, do that. That's fine. But if you want to get your feet wet and get your hands dirty, more importantly, and know how this stuff works, that's how the other thing goes. So there you go. All right, let's see who's in today. All right. There's Ron. Ding, ding, ding. First one in today from Grand Haven, Michigan. And there's Terry from Falston, Maryland. There's Edward from Jacksonville, Florida. There's Boomer McBoom from San Emilio Mountains. You see, I'm starting to get it. It's coming off smoother every time. San Emilio Mountains. Corey from Whitehall, Wisconsin. And Sarah says, Happy Thursday from Kentucky. There's Sean from Longview and Rick from St. Paul. Kathleen from Evanston, Wyoming. And there's John from Denver. I got to get back to Denver, man. I lived there for about 6 years and trying to convince my wife to maybe retire there. But she does not like the cold. So there's that. There's Andrew from Latvia. Marlene from Fresno. She says, I'm not receiving notifications for the huddle. How do I fix this? Break a lip. I believe there's a way. I know there's a way that you can get texted for this. I would have to reach out to one of the partners to find out how to do that. But yes, there is a way that you can get texts that kind of remind you. Of course, it happens every morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you just want to keep that in mind, um, but yeah, let me look into that. I'm gonna have to dive into that a little deeper. And if so, what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description so that if you want to sign up and get those notifications, it'll be right there. So I'll take care of that. There's Kirk from Greenville, South Carolina, and Jason from Kearney, Nebraska, and Tim from Altoona. There's Brian from San Antonio and Nicole from Ottawa. There's Dennis from Pasadena, California. There's Paul from Seymour, Tennessee. Sandra from DFW and David from Hamilton, Ontario. Alex from Utah. Good morning to you. There's Wayne says, good or greetings from the Olympic Peninsula of Washington State. Joy from Southfield, Michigan. Brian says, nice shirt. Thank you. This shirt is a buddy of mine. If I can back up here, a buddy of mine owns the longest running tattoo parlor in, I don't know if it's in Arizona, but it's definitely in Phoenix. His name's Mark Walters, and he tattoos all the celebrities, all the athletes, all the pro athletes and stuff like that. He's tattooed Tommy Lee. Anyway, he's the man. Boomer says, also a form of training or education. I guess you mean my demo process, if that's what you're referring to. Yes, that's kind of why it's that's kind of why it's a little different in that you learn a whole lot about it versus just being handed a demo. Ron says, starting early and paying for a pro demo early, then in a short time improve my ability. Well, I have to create another pro demo. Well, like I said, you eventually will. You will eventually have to, because trends change. There are different trends in voiceover, what is selling and what's not. So you will eventually, one demo is not going to last you forever. So every few years, you may need to refresh. What I do is every year I look at my set of demos because I have about 5 or 6 pro demos in different genres, and so I look at them all and decide which one, is kind of n and I reach out to the people that I've worked with those demos on and reach out to them and say, "Hey, what do you think?" Kinda like what I did with JMC. Luckily, that one only needed one little tweak, so we did that, but eventually, yes, you will need another pro demo, especially if you are starting to diversify. A lot of people will start with a commercial demo because it's the one that will showcase the most range. So a lot of people will start with that. Not everybody, but a lot of people will start with a pro commercial demo. But if you want to start diversifying and getting into other genres, maybe you want to do a medical demo or a narration demo or an e-learning or corporate narration or um, IVR, audiobooks. There's a lot of different styles of demo. So you will probably need to get one or more of those as you just start to diversify your offering. It jumped on me. Hang on a second. African Renaissance Stories says, "How much do they charge for their demos, and who were the people you mentioned?" If you wanna just do a pro demo where they actually just do it, they start at around $2,500 and up. So it depends on, the style of the demo and all that. And like I said, I worked with J. Michael Collins, Julie Williams, Anne Ganguza, Bill DeWeese. All of those people have done pro demos for me. There's Mike from York, PA. Rich says, "Awesome alternate process." Thank you, Rich, and good chatting with you yesterday. Andrew says, "A friend once said, 'Give a man a fish, feed for the day, teach a man how to fish, feed him for a lifetime.'" Exactly. That's the whole point. Joy says, "Exactly. I would never use a DIY in direct marketing, but I have a classmate who blew my sandals off with their DIY demos. But these are folks who have had the audio engineering skills under their belts." Yeah, if you've got that audio engineering, background and you know how to do all that, then sure, you don't need someone to help with that aspect of it. But I would caution you to actually, um, or to not actually the performance side of things, always get someone to direct you. even if it's just for the recording session. If you know how to do all that other stuff, that's great. But remember, self-direction is very hard. Um, and your demo is your calling card. So you want to make sure that you get the best possible performance on that demo before you start going out and knocking on those digital doors, right? So even if you know how to do the techie stuff, get some direction on your reads for the recording, because what you think sounds great doesn't always sound great. Ethan says, "Happy Thursday, VO fam from Toronto, Canada." Wayne says, "Every once in a while, when I direct email a contact creator or a content creator, sorry, with my website listed, they'll write back and compliment the hybrid demos." Well, thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. Yeah, I worked with Wayne on both of his. We did a commercial and a narration demo, and that's great that you're getting good feedback on it because that's what it's all about. Sarah says, "The hybrid demo sounds exactly like what I need to get started." Well, shoot, reach out to me. We'll figure something out. We'll get you going in a hurry. Because like I said, when you've got the pro demo, the shackles are off. No more working in that lower tier. You can just start reaching out to whoever and anybody in the world. There's Eddie from San Antonio, Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. John says, "Happy Thursday from ATL." Adrian in Alabama says, "Is a hybrid demo possible?" Of course, I just talked about that. "I'd like to put together a commercial demo with elements of e-learning and animation. Your thoughts?" Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. That kind of a hybrid demo. Um, I would typically not cross the streams there. I would actually keep your demos separate because when you're doing your marketing, people are going to want to, you know, there's different specialties that people are going to want to hear. So if you just lump everything into one big pot of gumbo, um, for those of you are in Louisiana, if you put all that stuff in one demo, it's just a little too scattered, you know? So, I mean, I'm sure there are people who've done that. Um, I typically would not suggest it. I would keep them, commercial, e-learning, or, narration, medical, that kind of thing. That way, if somebody wants to hear your medical read, they can go right to that and listen to it instead of having to sift through your demo to find something that matches what they need. Dennis says, "I like the hybrid demo method. What's the cost for this package?" Well, it depends on whether or not the length of it and that kind of thing. Once again, just reach out. Let me know if you have any questions. Just shoot me an email. You can send that to training@thevoiceoverblueprint.com and we can discuss it because there's a lot of options. I'll tell you this, it's less than what you would pay going and doing a professional pro demo from a producer and have them do it all. It's definitely less than that. But once again, it will depend on, do you want just audio or do you want to add video to it? Because I do that as well. Video demos. In fact, I'll probably talk about that in another topic. But yeah, just shoot me an email, training@thevoiceoverblueprint.com, and we'll figure it out. There's Mario from Vietnam. Welcome to you. Dennis says, "Hello from Grant Park, Illinois. I set an alarm on my phone to remind me about the daily meetings." And I also get YouTube reminders that pop up on my phone too. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. If you click the notification bell, forgot who it was who mentioned that they didn't get the notifications. Who was that? Yeah, if you oh, there it is, Marlene. If you just hit the notification bell on the YouTube channel, you'll get the notifications ahead of time. Forgot about that part. There's Richard working in NYC and living in New Jersey, crossing the bridge every day. I see you. Welcome to you. Joyce says, the hybrid demo is what I will do because if you teach me how to fish, I'll kiss your ring for the rest of your life while I create my hybrid demos. That's true. That's good. Now, just remember, though, just like I mentioned earlier, you can do your own demos, but if you're going to do, if you need to get someone to help you with the performance part, the direction part, hire someone for just one session to help you with the reads themselves, because that is obviously the biggest part of this thing. If you put out kind of a lackluster demo because you didn't get help on the performance side, you know, that might be a problem. But knowing all the back end stuff and how everything else works, that's what you want. Brian says, way cool story about the shirt. Thank you. John says, is your demo 10-second clips of longer ads, or do you look for 10-second ads? Oh, that's a really good question, John. No, usually what I'll do, the clips that we initially record are anywhere between 15 and 30 seconds. Sometimes we can find a short one. Maybe it's a little tag at the end that's maybe 5 or 10 seconds or whatever that you can put in there for a little bit of variety. But what we do is when we record the full spots, 15 to 30 seconds, and I've even recorded 1 minute spots for people. But then what we do in that last session, remember, is we go and we listen to each one of those and we pick out the pieces. Maybe we recorded a 30-second spot, but the best part of that spot is the last 10 seconds, or maybe a middle 10 seconds or whatever. And so your demo should add up to about a minute 15 in length. And you're going to have about 5, 6, 7 maybe spots compiling that. So usually if they're 10 to 15 seconds each, that's usually enough to fill that space. And so that's kind of the formula for the length of the demo for this, and I'm talking commercial. If you're gonna do a narration, kind of a longer form demo, then it can go like a minute 30, a minute 45 even if it's longer form, like, e-learning and stuff like that. But, for commercial demo, usually it's a minute to a minute 15, short, punchy spots between 10 to 15 seconds each. Of all different styles of reads. African Renaissance Story says, sounds like you need a bit of money to get into this business professionally. Yeah, of course. I mean, just like with any new business, it's going to take an investment of not only money, but time and effort and learning and all that. But I can tell you this, when it comes to voiceover, I don't know of another career where the barrier to entry is so small and the upside as far as the earning potential is so large. For instance, if you were to go open a pizza spot somewhere, you're gonna be in the hole hundreds of thousands of dollars before you make a single dollar, usually. Getting all the equipment, any kind of brick and mortar stuff, you're gonna have to order and get all that stuff and set it up and everything before you actually start making a single dollar. With voiceover, yes, there's a little bit of an outlay of money for demos and training and equipment, but it pales in comparison to what any other, you know, brick and mortar business would would cost. And the income is unlimited if you work hard. You can work as hard as you want, and the income is unlimited. So yes, it does cost a little bit of money, but so does anything else worthwhile. There's Clint from Chandler. There's Bob from Wadsworth, Ohio. Commando Slayer says, I'm planning to use your voiceover advice to make book reviews. Okay, cool. So I guess I've actually done some stuff like that if it's what I think it is, where I used to do these things on ACX where they were like little short, almost like cliff notes, kind of summaries of books. Instead of having to read the whole book, you could read these, and then they were just little condensed versions of whatever the book is. And so, yeah, if that's what you're talking about, then sure, go for it. David says, "Is the option you're talking about today working with you," meaning me, uh, "is this a reduced rate or what is the cost?" Well, like I mentioned before, it is definitely a reduced rate. You're not gonna pay nearly as much as you would pay someone to just do it for you, but, because you are getting your hands dirty, so there's kind of you've got more skin in the game, but there are variables, so if you want to, we can chat about that. Just shoot an email to training@thevoiceoverblueprint.com, and we can chat about the options. There's Patricia in Florida, the Sunshine State. Andrew says, $1.5 million dollars for a McDonald's franchise. Yeah, that's a couple bucks if you're trying to get in and open a new McDonald's. But of course, once those McDonald's open, talk about unlimited potential. um, have you ever seen a McDonald's close down? I don't think I have. So once they're open, man, they're open forever. People need the grease. African Renaissance Story says, "What are your thoughts about these AI voices coming out?" Well, we did a whole episode on AI a while back, but I'll summarize it. The only jobs that AI voices are taking right now are those low-end jobs, the kinda jobs that only a DIY demo can market to, which is the reason why you should have a pro demo to be successful in this business, because those jobs it's gonna be long time before those jobs go away. The higher tier and the higher paying jobs, they still need humans because, nobody can do or no machine can do what we can do as humans to actually, get emotion across. The jobs that are getting eaten up are those jobs on the lower end where they just need something that's good enough. And you can pick them out like a sore thumb. I mean, you can hear if you've heard any of these things on, Facebook Reels or anything like that, you can tell which ones are AI and which ones are human. And so, it's gonna be a long time before AI can mimic the human emotion that we give it. All right. We are at the bottom of the hour, maybe a little past, so I am gonna get to work, but, I wanna thank each and every single one of you for being here this morning or this afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and, remember to hit that notification bell if you wanna get notified about when these things pop out. And until tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow is Free Advice Friday. So bring all your questions tomorrow about voiceover. Happy to answer those. So no general topic tomorrow, just wide open for your questions. So I will see you then. And until then, break a lip.